How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Blind Tobes YouTube channel. How are you doing? I hope you are all well. A few little side notes before we get into the YouTube video. If I sound appalling, I am very ill. Not very ill, a little bit ill. Let's not over exaggerate it. Man flu season. I am feeling a little bit under the weather. So if I do feel or sound gravelly, I'm very sorry. Hopefully by next week it will go away. And secondly, I'm very sorry for the 2-week gap. I was on holiday in Cyprus with Natalie. It was lovely, thank you for asking. Do I look tanned? I hope I look tanned. And then when I got back, I was a little bit ill, as I just said. So 2-week gap, but we are back now. Are you excited? I'm really excited. You better be excited. If you're excited, hit subscribe if you're new, like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate you. Today's video is an interesting one. It is about the pros and cons of being a blind person. It's going to be quite difficult for me to speak generally. What I say is from my own experience. I don't want to put all of my experiences onto every other blind person. However, I am going to discuss 3 of the toughest things I find about being blind and 3 of the best things about being blind, because there are perks, I promise. I might give you a bonus perk at the end as well, but I'm debating whether to put in or not because it's a bit dark. Yeah, we'll do it. Stay tuned for the dark perk. Without further ado then, let's get straight into it. You guys have been waiting for weeks now. I know you've missed me, I know you have. So, let's get into it. Let's start off with a negative, and this one is probably the biggest negative for myself. It's isolation. Being blind can be such an isolating disability to have, because often you feel quite lonely, you're not necessarily aware of who's around you, and that can make it really hard to interact with people. Quite a lot of the time as well, I've found that people just like to keep their distance, whether that's because they don't want to offend the blind person, or they don't know what to say, they don't know how to interact. So they're treading on eggshells and keeping their distance, and that's not necessarily bad on them because they've got good intentions, but for us, it can be very isolating and make us feel like people want to avoid us. Going through secondary school, I started with a fair bit of vision. I was able to play football with all of my friends, and gradually I lost my vision, and I ended up losing a lot of friends because they didn't necessarily know how to act around someone who had just lost their vision and couldn't do the things that they used to do. Obviously, this is coming from a perspective of a kid. Children will be children, do you know what I mean? I don't have any bad feelings towards anyone who drifted away, but as you can imagine, that made me feel a bit poopy. I was going to say a swear word, but we'll try and keep it PG. A bit poopy, mate. Although what I have experienced now into adulthood is it can still be isolating. I'm a very extroverted person, I'm very confident, and I will talk to anyone and make myself as open as possible for people to come and talk to me. However, I still find it difficult sometimes. For example, if I'm out with my friends and they've had to maybe nip to the toilet or just gone off to do something, I feel totally stranded. I'm not sure who's around me, and that makes it really difficult for me to then interact with people, as I said earlier. So even as extroverted and confident as I am, I still struggle sometimes. Let's have a positive, why not? Let's keep it light-hearted. It's got to be the little perks that come with being blind. I'm talking the blue badge. That triggers a lot of people that I have a blue badge. I don't care. The carer tickets, saving money on tickets at things like Thorpe Park, cinemas, even football matches sometimes. Incredible. Chef's kiss. Can I do a chef's kiss? Was that right? Obviously, it's really easy to get caught up in the negatives. Sometimes you've got to take a step back and take those little victories, whether that's saving a little bit of money or parking closer to the shops. I'm taking it. Personally, it is a euphoric feeling when you get into a cinema and you've only paid for one ticket. Comment below if you have experienced that, because you're on top of the world, mate. Top of the world. Negative number 2 then, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the evaluations that I get from other people. What I mean by this is the view that other people take of myself as a blind person. Quite often I've seen as incapable or vulnerable, and it really grinds my gears. I like to think that I'm quite an independent person. I always say that if I was living by myself, I could do it. I'd fully function, I'd get everything cleaned, washed, cooked for, shopping done, anything like that I'd be able to manage. Obviously it would be difficult, but I wouldn't end up dying. However, the general consensus is that it would be a car crash if I lived by myself. I wouldn't be able to do anything, and I'd have to have constant care and supervision, whether that's making a cup of coffee, cooking some dinner, doing the ironing, anything like that. I can't do it because I can't see, apparently. Whenever I say I'm doing stuff as well, it will always be met with questions like, oh, are you sure? Can you actually do that? Is that safe? Should you be doing that? Do you not want someone to do that for you? almost the most frustrating thing, because I work really, really hard to be able to master these skills and do them independently. So for then people to tell me that actually I shouldn't be doing them is actually really belittling. I get it from everyone, even my own family members do it sometimes, and I know it comes from a good place. I don't think anyone's intending to hurt my feelings, but it is, as I said, really belittling when you work so hard to be independent and you constantly prove yourself. I lived alone, you know, well, with flatmates, but away from my family for 3 years at university. I've now lived with my girlfriend and been independent here, paying my rent as a good citizen does for a good amount of time now, and I'm still seen as someone that needs looking after. Positive number 2, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the disabled community because it's exceptional. It's a brilliant place to be. Being blind has given me these incredible opportunities, not just to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do if I had sight, for example, play blind football or probably make social media, because I'm a pretty average person. I don't think people would be that interested in me if I wasn't blind, had that niche to me. But I've also been able to meet the most incredible people, whether they're blind or just had other disabilities in general, and even the people that don't have disabilities that are part of a disabled community, like my girlfriend, for example, like the lovely people that assist us in general day life, you know, make things happen. Meeting all these people has been amazing to me, and actually, ironically, really eye-opening. There are a lot of communities, sort of just in the general population, that are really toxic, I feel. But the disabled community I've found is so supportive, and everyone wants everyone to succeed. There's no competition, there's no, I mean, well, there are a select few people that are a bit snidey or sneaky, but generally it's amazing, and I'm so grateful to have all these amazing connections and know all these amazing people. For example, now I've got some of the closest friends I ever had from playing blind football. Yes, we're all blind, and yes, it works somehow. And you know what? The one thing we don't talk about is being blind. We talk about everything under the sun, and actually being blind really doesn't crop up all too often. So it's just like having normal relationships, and I'm so grateful to have that. And as I said, if I wasn't blind, it wouldn't be that way. Negative number 3 is always having to be switched on, always having to be thinking, always having to be planning. I have to think about everything I do. There are things that I can do autonomously without thinking, like getting out of bed or brushing my teeth, having a shower, but generally tasks that are quite mundane to the average person take a lot of thinking for myself. Whether this is things like cooking, I constantly have to be thinking about where I'm putting my hands, where I'm putting knives, where I'm putting pans on hobs, what temperatures I'm using my fingers to feel certain things. There's no mundanity to it, it's all very complex. This is the same if I'm out in public, just relaxing with friends. I really struggle to switch off because I'm constantly listening for my environment, who's around me, who's doing what, what's in front of me, what's to my sides, positionally, where am I in the location that I am. And that can be really, really draining. I get so tired at the end of the day when I crawl into bed that, you know, I just want to fall asleep. But even then, my mind is racing about things. And I think blind people do generally have overactive minds because as I said, we're constantly thinking about these things. But as you know, as you can imagine, it's just knackering. As I said at the beginning of the video, I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago in Cyprus, and even just laying on a sunbed, I was really struggling to switch off because I was thinking, okay, where's the pool if I want to get into the pool? Where's the toilets if I want to go to the toilets? Where's the bar if I want a drink? How am I going to get to it? How many steps up to the bar is it? How many steps down into the pool do I have to take? Where are the people in the pool so that I have to avoid them? There's someone coming around with drinks to take my order. When are they speaking to me? When are they passing me my drink? The list is endless. I've just rattled off so many things off the top of my head, and that really doesn't even touch the surface. There's very few times where I do switch off, but I promise you when they do come, I lap it up. I love it. Let's end it on a positive, and my final positive is related to maturity. Now, I'm going to caveat this by saying I am a very immature person by nature. I love to joke around, but also I get told a lot that I am beyond my years in terms of my level-headedness, my decision-making, anything like that, my thought processes, my logic, you know, but that's not through design, it's more, you know, been engineered over time. Growing up, losing your vision makes you have to think a hell of a lot more about your decisions, what you're doing, where you want to end up. And actually, I was thinking about those kind of things a hell of a lot earlier than my peers were. I was also facing problems emotionally and in day-to-day life that your average person doesn't face, alongside the problems that your average person faces, whether that's family problems or choices within education that you have to make, stresses from education. So growing up really was tough emotionally and very stressful. I do feel like this has made me mature a little bit faster than my peers. Nothing crazy, but emotionally I'd say I'm definitely more mature than my average 21-year-old. And yeah, it's just, it is what it is, but this is a good thing because it means when I do communicate with people that are older than me, those biases about young people and being immature and silly or naive, they sometimes go away because they realise, oh, this geezer knows what he's talking about, he's not an idiot. I did say at the beginning of the video I would give you one slightly naughty positive. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm not a bad person, I promise. It relates to using, actually I've got it down here, relates to using my cane. It's actually really fun when there's someone in front of you that you don't like walking towards you and you can just give a I don't know if that picks up on the camera, might have been a bit too low, but a little flick of the cane into their ankles. I don't know if any of you went on scooters when you were young, you know the little ones that you pushed along with one foot and that hit you in the ankle and it was really painful. A cane is similar to that, and I love it because I can just dish it out when I want. If there's people in front of me that are annoying me because they're walking slowly, bosh mate, oh sorry, didn't mean it, sorry I'm blind, sorry, could I just get through? Horrible person really when you think about it. I'm horrible, but it is a little bit of fun as well. Please don't cancel me. That's not cancelable, is it? I could be. Oh well, we'll keep it in. Anyway guys, I hope that video provided you with maybe a little bit of laughter and a little bit more context about blind people, maybe a bit of information that you didn't necessarily know. It makes you think a bit more about the lives that we live. If you did enjoy the video, please do subscribe. If you're not, like, share, comment, all of the YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. The start to this YouTube channel has been far better than I thought it ever would be, and that's all down to you guys. That's not down to me and Natalie. But yeah, a huge thank you for all of the support that I've had so far. Comment below anything that you'd like me to discuss in future videos. I'd be more than happy to make a video on it. I'm more than happy to keep spreading awareness, keep making you guys laugh, keep entertaining you, and yeah, keep making videos for as long as we can. Anyway, until the next one guys, you take care of yourselves and I will see you very soon. Bosh. Can you tell me if my microphone was hitting my neck? Bzz, bzz.